What's up, Church Media Pros? Today I want to talk about how to make and present a budget for your next big gear purchase. Welcome back to Church Media Pro. My name is Aaron Ward, and on this channel we talk about all things church media production and advertising. And today I want to go over what I do as personally, what I do to budget and then present that budget for my next big gear purchase. And right now I'm in the process of launching a new campus, and I'm in charge of a budget that I've been given for the technical side of things. So we have projection, we have sound, we have media computers, we have TVs in the lobbies and all this sorts of things. And I want to give you my best practices on this, guys. And so what I've done this for multiple projects. I do this for projects outside of my church. I do this as a consultant. In fact, if you want to hit me up in the comments, guys, I'll direct message you through there if we want to get in touch. If you want to get in touch with me on what that could look like for your next project. In fact, I do free consulting, guys. I don't charge for it. I would be happy to look over your budget if you'd like to, and help you purchase. And if you use, the only thing that I ask is if you help me out by purchasing through the links that I send to you. I do have affiliate links with a couple different companies. Amazon is a big one. I'm working on getting a B&H as well. And so if you can help me by purchasing through my links, that will help me make it possible to do free consultations for you guys. But I digress. I love doing these things. What's one of my passions is creating systems and solving problems that working within a budget to make something happen. And let me start with this. My favorite thing in the world to do is I under promise and over deliver. It's something that I've tried to do throughout my life in all regards, especially when it comes to project budgets. I love to give the number that I think it's going to be, and then I love to come in under that budget by sourcing the best used gear or refurbished gear that I can find, and just generally coming in under budget. Now, occasionally, like right now, I'm actually a little bit over budget in one portion of an upcoming project, but I'm making up for it with some choice purchases on eBay and reverb.com and looking for deals out there, because you can usually find great things, especially from AV corporate, sort of outlets and these sort of things, if you know where to look. But one thing, so that's the first thing I like to do. I want to make sure that I under promise by giving a larger budget than probably than it should be. I line item everything, make sure that I get retail pricing for everything. I put in 10% after the fact for, churches generally don't pay taxes. So if you do pay taxes, make sure you add sales tax to your spreadsheet when making this. But also, I like to put at least 10%, sometimes more, in just miscellaneous over and above. I don't line item cabling. I don't line item, let's say I need some adapters or something like that, cables, power plugs, little adapters, things like that, depending on the size and scale of the project. Say we're going to spend $20,000, I'll just do a general 10% on top of, to make sure I'm covered for cables and these sorts of things, right? Unless I know something specific, like if I'm putting in a wireless system, I want to make sure that I line item the antennas and the antenna combiner and all these things, so that I'm not robbing some other line item to help pay for that. But it's the XLRs and the TRSs and the Cat 5s and these sort of things that I'm going to just generally put a 10% contingency on top of, just in case, really to help manage the expectations of my leadership in when I present to them the budget. Now, if you're not presenting budgets, I would say just skip this video, but this is for you if you are presenting budgets. Another thing I love to do in this is to research everything really super well. So going through each system and going, okay, and talking with the heads of departments, if there are some of these, like some of you guys are going to be single operators, you know, you're going to be the tech guy that also plays, you know, acoustic on the weekends, right? Or sings and or maybe you're the worship leader and you're the guy on stage every week, but you're also leading a team of volunteers to do production. Well, making sure that those volunteers, those people that run your lights, run your sound, run your media computers, maybe even talking to you know, your kids programs and making sure that they're set up well. Like if you're launching a full campus like I am, I'm talking to all the different people. So I'm talking to the kids departments to make sure that they're resourced well, both of them. You know, the kids and the toddlers and the nursery, they all want TVs, right? Or at least TVs and computers, if not, or rather, at least TVs and DVD players, if not a TVD, or you know, maybe you know, something like an Apple TV or something to make sure the TV is smart so they can download YouTube content or something like that, right? So, or some of them even need like a projector and sound and all these things on top of it, and just making sure that they're all considered in the process. It's a very big part of being a church employee, is making sure everybody gets heard, right? So that you work together well. But you also want to make sure that they're resourced. So asking for line item budgets from everybody and making sure that your CFO gives you the, understands that you're getting line items from everything as well. Maybe you have a specific project and that's different, right? Like maybe the lead pastor just asked you, hey, I need this screen to be in this room for this purpose. Like, hey, we haven't had a mother's room. We really need it to have the message going on it. Well, that's a really specific budget. You might talk to, you know, the pastor's wife to make sure, you know, she has some buy-in on the mother's room, right? As a man, I don't, you know, hang out in the mother's room. So I don't want to make sure that at least I consult one other, you know, female in that case to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, preferably a mom, right? I'm not going to go ask some, you know, youth female who's never had kids what the mother's room should look like, but I digress. So places that I like to look for deals, guys. I mentioned in another video, and I'll try to remember to put it in the description, that I have a secret place for high-end equipment. So sound equipment, video equipment, and occasionally I'll look for lighting as well. But I go to PRG.com. I think it's prgpro.com or something like that. I'll link that in the description. PRG is the place to go to get high-end, you know, Meyer sound, you know, Martin lighting, and Shure upper, you know, Axient kind of stuff. If you're looking in that range of products, you want to make sure that you get them secondhand, honestly, because you're gonna have a tough time affording them, especially on a church budget. For you know, for the most part, some churches have, you know, greatly resourced projects, and sometimes you can get, you know, a special donation for that project and get the high-end stuff brand new. But a lot of times I like to look for the deals, guys, because I think we're trying to be the best stewards possible of the tithe dollars that we're working with, right? So you want to make sure, though, that these are great products and that they're going to last you a long time. So I also don't like to skimp on what I'm purchasing. So I do like to budget really well, you know, well-known solutions for these projects that I'm being asked to budget for. I want to make sure that it's going to last, you know, 3, 5, 10 years down the road if possible. I mean, obviously computers aren't going to last that long, but you may be able to buy something like a speaker that's going to last you at least 5 years, guys. You know, maybe a little maintenance, maybe you replace a horn, or, you know, or the magnet, or if it's self-powered, maybe you do a little repair on that, or get it sent in for RA or whatever. So occasionally you're gonna have those things, but you want something solid that's gonna last a while, because you want to spend budget once. You don't want to spend it multiple times. Now you do want to think about long term, though. 5 years is probably like the longest you want to expect to have the same setup in your auditorium or in a youth space or these sorts of things. So you really don't want to budget too far out of that as far as like longevity of a product, but sometimes it just depends on what it is. You'll be able to hold on to it for longer. Like our CL5, our audio console that we have in our main auditorium. Well, in a couple of years, it's going to be the youth auditorium, but I do expect it to last in at least 10 years total between, the 5 years we've already owned it, from our renovation 5 years ago to the time we renovate it to be a youth department, because we're building onto our to our existing space. We're building a new building in the next couple of years. We'll be moving our congregation out there, but we'll keep youth inside, and I think the CL5 should be able to handle that room for years to come. So other things I like to consider is calling other churches and seeing what they have done in your situation. So make sure you're resourcing your community, guys, and build a community is huge. So most Mondays, I have a group of guys that we get together, and we jump on actually it's a Facebook Messenger video call, and we just talk shop. We've gone through books about production. I think the last one we did, correct me on the name, but it was something about I love Jesus but hate Christmas, right? That book that's put out by a guy in this field who as a church production lead, gets burned out around Christmas time because of the necessity to work so hard in that time. Well, we came around and did that book as a study together, and there's 4 of us, and we had a great time. But we have continued to talk shop and bounce ideas off each other, and that's really helped me to make decisions on what gear I'm going to purchase for new projects. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're checking out other YouTubers as well. Don't take my word for it. Research other YouTubers. Do your own research. Make sure that you are doing the best you can to get the right stuff the first time. So, and then call people who have done the work. If you don't feel qualified, don't do the work yourself, right? So, one thing that you can do is resource other people, other professionals. You could definitely reach out to me. I would be happy to help you with your console, like I said before in this video. But reach out to integrators if it's gonna be, rule of thumb in my book is if I'm gonna spend more than $100,000, I want to make sure that I'm talking to another professional. In fact, I'll pay, probably not 10% of the fee, but like up to 2 to 3% of the total fee in consultation fees to make sure that I'm getting the right project or the right gear for the project if I'm going to spend more than like $100,000. And maybe for you it's $1,000. You want to make sure that you buy somebody lunch in your community who's done this before, who just to give them some sort of compensation or for their time, right? Go out to lunch with them, buy them a coffee, make sure that they feel appreciated, and ask them, what should I do in this regard? So those are my top recommendations for your next project. Jump on, Costco.com is a great place to check for deals. PRG, as I mentioned before, eBay, of course. Reverb is a big one. If you haven't used Reverb in the past, guys, Reverb is one that typically does, guitar and musical instrument equipment, but it also does, generally anything that you could find on stage, right? So speakers for sure, audio consoles, lighting, all these things can be found on Reverb as well. Now, I will say that I generally won't buy used lighting fixtures. You just don't know how long they've been on, how long they've been used. And if it's an LED especially, I would buy new as much as possible with LED lighting, because you just don't know what sort of hours are on those lights, and you don't have any recourse if like a couple of the filaments or not filaments, but the nodes, if you will, on your LED fixtures, if they're going to go out, you can't really replace them without replacing the entire light a lot of the time. So one thing I do try to stick with is brand new lighting if I'm going to go out and purchase lighting, unless I know if you're buying from another church, that's totally understandable. Getting a great deal from a trusted individual that a production company that you personally know in town. Maybe they purchased something and it didn't rent as much as they had hoped, and you could buy it from them. That'd be fantastic. Reach out to those people. If you don't have relationships with local production, rental houses, or corporate rental places like that are working for you know, large clients doing a lot of traveling and stuff like this. Talk to those people, ask them the questions. They like to talk shop generally. They like to sell you things too. So if they have anything used that they're not using, they like to offload, you know, some of their inventory occasionally, every couple years, definitely. They're trying to get the next best thing because their clients are expecting the next best thing to wow them. So maybe they have something laying on the shelf that they're not using anymore, or maybe they have something just a little bit aged out that they would be happy to give to you for a good price. So name of the game is under promise. I keep saying it wrong. Under promise and over deliver. Do your research. Try to get things as cost effectively as possible, but also use your networks, guys. Make sure you're talking to other people about what you should buy before you pull the trigger, and that will save you so much time, because you'll also think of, oh yeah, I need that adapter, or I need that cord, or I need that, you know, that device to talk to this. You know, that you'll get those second opinions, guys, so that you're not stuck, you know, if you accidentally make a mistake in the process. So thank you so much for watching. If you get any value out of this, please use my Amazon links below on the next time you purchase on Amazon. I do get a little bit of commission there. But if you like coffee and you like video and audio and church production in general, and I know a lot of you do, go over to friedrichscoffee.com, buy yourself a 12-ounce bag of roasted to order coffee that is roasted the day that it ships out, guys. And if you're in the continental United States like I am, you get that coffee within a couple days of the roast. Not necessarily from order, because they only roast a couple days a week, but you'll get it at the freshest quality possible, and it is fantastic coffee, guys. So go over to Friedrichs Coffee and get yourself some, because I get a little bit of commission because they're a client of mine. So thanks so much for watching, and God bless.